folks? How we all doing? This is episode 5. 5 days. Although today I'm leaving at, I guess we don't have practice on Fridays. Coach did that, and I have to be honest, I'm loving that policy. This is probably the easiest sport to coach, so we of course get the least amount of money. But there's not a lot of time you have to put in. Most of these kids are beginners. But yeah, what a week. Oof. Not the best week for myself as a teacher. Our boy Trump, he's stirring the pot already. Met with Theresa May today. That went well. The whole thing with him in Mexico was interesting, where, he said, you're going to build the wall, and then Mexico says, the president's like, well, I'm debating on whether to visit. And then, of course, Trump says, well, don't fucking come then. Oh, it was great. And now he's messing with Japan. Oh, it's interesting, man. You talk about just taking a stick and stirring up the world. The president of the United States, the power that he has, and he can just stir that pot up. I just hope that he's not stirring up a bee's nest. He's definitely changing the world, and who knows? I want to be positive. I think I said I'm a little nervous like 50 times on the first podcast. Sorry, folks. I'm going to try and stay away from the repeated euphemisms, whatever it's called, and focus on simply pausing silently instead of going, which they tell you not to do. I don't know. I was just going to say I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm concerned with our kids. You saw the last few days, things have been rough. I just don't want them to get rougher, but that would make me an insane person to think that. I want them to want to do better, because they don't want to. Some of the kids just sit there resenting the others, and that's never healthy either. So I honestly think I'll probably be here I am yawning at 3 p.m. Y'all think this is an easy job. I think I'll be, moving on from this. Who knows? Maybe entertainment is my possible future, but I'd have to be entertaining, and you all have probably seen how bad I am at that. So it looks like traffic's already shitty because it's a Friday. People leave early, so teachers lose their bonus time here. Their sneaky time is lost. So we're with everybody on the commute home on a Friday, and usually there's someone in a rush and hits someone, therefore ruining the early rush home for all of us, or someone's just plainly in a rush. I guess I'll segue here to a positive. Well, kind of a positive. It is a positive at the whole. 4 years ago, I started the class, the Vietnam War. I picked it up. It was made by a teacher like 30 years ago, a Vietnam vet, and Hillsborough County was able to get it on the state number, and then we of course can teach it. So then the state solidified no new electives. So my goal was always to teach a different class, not just Vietnam. I wanted to teach a class on war, and I found an ear from another teacher halfway across the district. Not halfway, he was all the way across the district. A teacher in his early 60s. This was the same teacher who created the Vietnam class. I guess I wasn't paying attention there. to merge, but he saw that the Vietnam class was losing numbers, which means kids weren't taking it as much, even though we had this entertaining elective about a war that people know very little about, and that's most people. The Vietnam War is so freaking complex that even people who study it, it's still a little complex to them. Very complex war. It goes all the way back to like World War. Actually, France trying to get into China. That's how far back the war could be traced to. But I wanted something more, and he, with his numbers, said we probably should have another option. And so we worked on a new class called Wars of the 20th Century, with a focus on Vietnam, because unfortunately the Vietnam test was still going to be the same. How about that for data skewing? And that caused a problem for a very long time, and it's still a problem this year, but I have tended to err on I don't give a fuck and just teach and have fun. But 4 years ago I took the game Risk, and I split my class into 6 teams, and we played a game of Risk, except we only took one turn every Friday. And it was phenomenal. The stuff that they started to do started to mirror the things we were learning in class. Positioning, treaties, backstabs, surprise attacks. And so, over the past 4 years, I have refined, phenomenally expanded. There are 120 occupiable areas on the map. There are, I believe, nine resources, including food and oil, that each of these 120 offers of different things. There's cotton, lumber, and then some revenue resources. Remember, I have fake money in class, so it became a really neat aspect to have this money floating around in an economy. And there's definitely an economy, because these kids will trade stuff for real money. They don't even want to spend their fake money. They will spend real money for trading things. So what this game has become is just this. I mean, I won an award for it, a rather large award, which doesn't need to be named because that would solidify my identity. But I have grown in acclaim. You know, when I was first doing it, I was made fun of by the other teachers. Oh, you play games. Yeah, well, they can't fucking say that now. This game takes over the school. I have 3 classes, so you're talking about 18 teams. And I warned them before they even joined this class, the amount of work and stress that this class will put on you, you have to want to take this class. And kids are always like, oh yeah, I'll be okay. Just today, because of the stress level and them not being able to communicate or handle it effectively, 3 people out of a 4-person team walked to guidance and demanded to be removed from my class because they couldn't handle it. And it's weirdly academically easy, and they couldn't handle it. It's just too much. I've had girls cry, swear words fly left and right, and they get fined for them, and they walk up and pay me the money for their anger outbursts, money that they could have used in the game. And they check each other, and they get each other studying more than would be normal because you get more money from tests. It's this incredibly encompassing thing. And anytime you do something this radical, you always have lines that are crossed. And every single year for the past 3 years, the cops have been involved. And it's usually because someone takes something, whether legal or illegally in the game, and I'll talk about that aspect of the game and whether or not I even want to keep it. It's a terrible necessity, I think, in the game, which is the responsibility of keeping one's things safe. And so I think last year someone took about $400 in a very air quote legal theft. And I even saw it happen and kind of smirked like, wow, boy, did you just get schemed, not paying attention. But the young man in question was so angry and mad about it, and he never liked to lose at all. Went to his baseball coach, who was also the police officer of the school. And he calls me on my phone, my cell phone, and says, I have 3 students in my office about this game, and it's about stealing. And I was like, look, they know better. If it has to do with the game, I'm not talking to them. And he said, you probably should come up. So here I am. I have to leave my class to walk up, having someone cover it, to talk to a police officer about stealing. And as I walk in the office, I say, thanks, officer. And I turn to the students and I say, you all know what happens now. The game is suspended, and I'm not requiring anything to be returned. And they learned their lesson. Well, that's a nice horn. The guy was just trying to merge, you C-word. So, yes, the theft in this game, let's talk about it. I buy 18 art boxes. So they're these big, bulky plastic boxes that are for, they're the size that could fit scrapbooks, so they're larger than paper. And I fill it with team-based things. I have a book I published where they keep track of all the information for the game. We're talking armies, vehicles, there's tanks. There's some like 50 vehicles that you can buy with all those resources. All of these little things that maneuver. There's cards you can purchase to make something like a territory, make double food or double oil, and they're all named pretty cool things. I'm very proud of it. It deserves the respect it gets. Then there's also ranks that they wear that are all personalized by the team. The teams of Japan, Russia, Great Britain, USA, France, and Germany. And they're all colors, involved, and they wear the rank that they are. And there's an officer in charge. And the officers are the ones that are the kids that, they think they can do it. I got this, I'm going to be a leader. And yeah, it's an extremely stressful job being an officer, because in that box is a journal that you have to keep so that I know all the secret things going on behind the scenes. Because my first year I was very surprised some days when betrayals happen, and I was like, I should have probably known that was coming, but how? And I'm like, I can require them to keep a journal, and it's a grade. And so there are 4 different jobs. Everyone has a job in the team, down to keeping attendance. I don't even have to keep attendance in this class. They keep track of their own grades, and they rank up through their points. Everything's all connected. It's really good. It's a really good thing. But this box has things like dice, and the dice are color coded for the team. So Japan is orange, so they have orange dice, and it's really cool because we project the rolling of the dice on Fridays as we play. And I've come up with a really neat turn order on Fridays. It's awesome. I make them an officer book that has the spreadsheet of all the things and all the rules and all the cards. So there's that neat book in there. I think I publish about 40 books a year for this class. And I have them printed, and they're all glossy and super nice. It's a big undertaking. It costs me about $800 a year. So, and no one pays me for that. I asked the kids for like $5 each just to cover half, so my wife doesn't ream me out. We're trying to have a family, and we just bought a house, so which you guys know. So I kind of have to get some of the money back. And I have another funny story about money, maybe in a little while. So, there's this one little thing in the box. It's a mini jewelry box, so it might be able to fit like a small gem in it. It's like an inch by inch box, and I put this little bead in it. It's like a button, little mini button, color coded. And whenever I ask to see it, the officers have to immediately show it to me and shake it and hear the little clicking. So there's a lot of intricacies to the game that if you were to lose them, could harm your ability to succeed at it. And therefore the game has become a kind of espionage aspect, and then of course hijacking. And now we've gotten into this situation where teams have learned that if you take something, which by the way I tell them is legal, I tell them the box is free reign. And the goal was, of course, just for spying aspects. You get a hold of someone's book and get a picture of it, you have power. But you're supposed to leave the book, and you're supposed to make it look like you never saw it. That's spying. But no, they steal the book. And then they ransom it back because there are grades involved in class. These kids always figure shit out. And I had a kid pay 10 of my fake money and 10 American dollars to get like something, just something. It was it was freaking great is what it was. These two kids are in band together, and they're like frenemies. They have to be friends because they're in band, but they really secretly don't really like each other. You can tell. And this one kid bought 4 locks, and he put 2 on his, and then when his friend wasn't looking, he clicked 2 locks onto his. And for like a week and a half, this kid was kind of like not getting stuff in for the game. And of course his teammates are getting on his ass about it, and they don't want their grades to go down just because of some feud. So somewhere along the way, he pays this kid to unlock. And the kid even faked through the keys. He threw the keys to like some crappy locks on the roof of the building of the school. I mean, this shit is great. Folks, I couldn't write this into a script. In fact, this would make for a phenomenal reality TV show. Absolutely phenomenal. These kids and their personalities range from just terrible people who don't do shit to masterminds that we probably should be hiring after this to run aspects of the government. And yay, Friday traffic. Here we are at the intersection between 2 of our interstates, and hooray, hooray, hooray traffic. And it's a Friday. Alright, so yeah, this game's badass. They write treaties and realize that they don't know how to write correctly in a legal document, and I'm the one who decides how it works. So if they just say, we can never attack each other for 8 turns or something, but they don't put a penalty, they're like, but we had a treaty. And I'm like, so you broke it. What do I do? And they're like, what shouldn't you do something? I'm like, it doesn't tell me to do anything. And so they learn quickly they need penalties. What happens if this? Last year, this shit is great. On the first turn, I have a bunch of helmets and hats and stuff in my room. The officer of the French team attacked the country of Germany in a surprise attack because they had a verbal agreement. And he went and he put on one of my German hats after he did it. And that was it. Every single team, the other 5 teams in the class, thought that that's such a dirtbag move that they all waged war on him and took him out in the next turn. They left him with like one territory with nothing in it, and they left him alive just to be assholes. I think they should have killed him. They should have just removed him from the game, but whatever. They have these weird things they do, this group of children. Scheisse. So, the game's great. I'll probably have some great stories, but the problem is the stealing's getting out of hand. They're snatching now. You know, they're ripping the box out of someone's hands, and that can't happen. I'm gonna have to. I usually threaten them once. I say, if this continues, I suspend the game. Because, you know, forgetting your box is one thing, or leaving it unattended. Having it like pulled out from under you as you sit on it is unacceptable. That's when I get in trouble as the teacher from the principal, and I'm surprised the new principal, he's kind of conservative. I'm surprised he hasn't stepped in. And the non-conservative assistant principal, even today, is like, yeah, and he laughed saying it, so it's like, uh-oh. He said, yeah, we need to talk about this game. And I was like, all right, we will. I'm not afraid. I can defend this game. This game is, let's just say, I've been working with a college economics group, and they think I'm crazy for not selling it. And the second I say that, guess what, folks? I'm going to be selling this. It will be sold soon. I'm going to have to clean it up. The wonderful thing is I've had a beta test for a few years, so it's being tested constantly. And I guess maybe I'm going to be forced to go a different way here if this is the way traffic is looking. You know what? I think I'm going to go a new way home. Take the long way home. Take the long way home. Was that Fleetwood Mac? Not a fan. Never really got into that time period. So, yeah, that's the game. I'm very proud of it. People think I'm a genius, but I'm just waiting to get in trouble with it. So I probably should sell it before I get in trouble, especially if the trouble's like a student shooting another student. I've had fights. You know, where when they go to the office, they just kind of stay quiet about it and just be like, no, we had a disagreement. When in actuality, someone took something. I had one kid chase another kid down the parking lot, and I'm talking, you know, corner tackle him with you know, the lock up of both legs in like a football game down onto the cement, which, you know, people recorded, and it made for a pretty good film. Yeah, you know, I'm probably gonna take some shit for what happened today, but I'll get through it. I always do, because the game is the game. Teenagers are teenagers, and they tend to overdo things, and you teach them, and then they learn. And this game is a freaking learning experience if I've ever seen one. I had a young lady speak at my award ceremony because her thing was, I thought I was a leader. I thought I could lead people. But this game taught me that there's much more to leadership than just telling others what to do. And I had to learn the hard way that you can let people down that count on you. And I'm sure I'm explaining this terribly. It came out much better in the speech she gave. But she said she's so thankful for the lesson because it taught her that if she is going to become a leader, which she wants to do, she does, what things she'll need to work on. So, hell of a compliment. I felt like the greatest person in the world that day. And thanks to her. Thanks to her. But yeah, again, this game can get out of hand. I had this one girl last year. She's a psycho. Like, literally, I have no qualms about calling this girl a psychopath. She's not at the school anymore. I don't know where she is, and I don't care. But she did make for some entertaining dialogue in the classroom. I think at one point You would see her shove her hand in her mouth because she didn't want to pay the money for swearing. But there was one day where she just pulled out the money, walked up to me and handed it to me, and then turned to someone in the class and said, "Go fuck yourself." And I just couldn't help it. I started laughing. She paid her fine. She said, "Look, Michael Vick did his time. He did his time. He deserves the Philadelphia Man of the Year," or whatever the award they gave him. So she deserved hers. She deserved that swear. She paid for it. I'm not like some awesome teacher, but I am one that really gets the kids passionate about stuff. And there's a lesson from it. We decompress. Is it decompress? What's the word? We talk about this stuff afterwards. I don't know why this person pulled in front of me and then went slow. Kind of irks me. You know, whatever. Maybe this semi will just randomly just turn the wheel left and just smash this car, and then I can drive through the rubble like the Millennium Falcon at the end of Return of the Jedi, just through the smoke, and the road is empty in front of me. But yeah, the game. I'll have plenty more stories, hopefully none that involve police officers, but like I said, every year there's something.